discussing, should we be happy to self-promote? Are we confident enough to talk ourselves up?
I get indirect feedback as in why you keep talking about yourself. If you talk about what you do in a positive way and say, hey, I've done this, it's seen as in you're up yourself or you're bigging yourself up too much.
Hi, welcome to Changing Suits. My name's Val.
And my name's Taj.
On this week's episode, we'll be discussing, should we be happy to self-promote? Are we confident enough to talk ourselves up? Come on, Taj, why have we decided to do this? I'm always really confused. That's why I always go, Taj, why are we talking about this again?
That's because I made me think of the topics, isn't it?
Yeah,
so the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because it's all about me, is because we're doing a lot of work in the community, and there are sometimes that I get indirect feedback as in why you keep talking about yourself, which we actually don't do. But
hold on, I didn't know that. Who said it?
Indirect thing. I never name names, but it's not so much me actually.
Name them.
Someone said that about someone that they knew. Someone. That, oh, this person's always self-promoting. It's all about them.
Wait, they said it about us, you mean?
No, they said it about someone else, but I'm thinking, did they mean it about us?
Oh, so they didn't actually. Okay. So this is a whole other topic where it's like.
Anyway, I want to stick to this self-promotion thing.
Yeah.
My thing is, in the community, it's seen as if you talk about what you do in a positive way and say, hey, I've done this, it's seen as in you're up yourself or you're bigging yourself up too much or something like that. Now, I want to turn that on its head and say, we're not doing that enough as a community, and our children aren't seeing the good work that people are doing in the community because everyone's just doing it and just not promoting it and saying, hey, I've done this. So I go out of my way, and if I see someone that I know that has done something good in the community, I will post it in WhatsApp groups and say, well done to this person, well done to that person, because I think it should be out there. And that, for example, I always think about the children, that our children should see, look, there's someone that they can identify, someone that's of brown color, black color, that is doing these things. You can do this as well. So I think that's really important. And I don't think it's a big-headed thing about self-promotion.
Can I talk now?
Sorry.
Okay, so I think it's really important, interesting that you brought this up at this point, because me and Sook were having this conversation yesterday in regards to this people someone that I know, and their kids are really successful, like they've done really well and it's fantastic. But when I talk to parents, they really big them up. And that's something I know we haven't had, where our parents are like, oh, well done. Where Sook, I know we've discussed this before, but Sook's parents very much have been like, my kids are brilliant. And there's always that thing of, should we be, and this was the conversation yesterday, should we be saying our kids are brilliant, they can do everything? Or should we do what our parents did, was like, that wasn't good enough. 30 out of 35. What happened to those 5 points? Which one is actually the best way of doing it? Because
I don't think there's actually the right way of doing it. It is what your way of doing it is the right way of doing it. The reason why I smiled while you were talking about that, what you were saying, was I remember when my brother was looking for a wife or whatever, and I don't know, maybe he was speaking to someone that mum was going to introduce him to, but it probably didn't end up doing. And I go to her, oh, what's the girl like? And she goes, she's all right. She's like you lot.
Yeah, I remember that. It's like,
thanks,
Mum. But then this is it.
We can laugh about that, or we could take it the other way. We're so offended that we stop talking to our mother, but we know that isn't coming from a bad place. It's funny for us.
What do you mean it's not coming from a bad place? She goes, your butters, mate. Sorry. But going back to what you've just said in regards to, should we be self-promoting? Because essentially social media is self-promotion, right? It is. Like, why else would anyone? And then everyone taps through and it's like, oh my God, they're on holiday. They're having the best time, even though they hate each other, which you won't see on your Instagram post. But that is essentially what Facebook and Instagram are about. However, I do want to mention something else. So I was with some slightly younger people last week, and as they were, so we were out because we were helping in the whole election campaign stuff, right? And they go to they go. So one of the two of the guys were like, "Oh, go real" or something like that. And I'm like, okay, maybe they said 3-0 because the football's on or something. I didn't hear properly because my old age hearing, innit? I was like, okay. And then the other girl, she goes, "Oh, do you know what they're talking about?" I'm like, "Did they say 3-0?" Because the football. But when I don't know what's going on, I just don't say anything because, like, I don't want to look stupid, right? I mean, most of the time I don't mind,
What
but
do they mean?
hold on. So listen to this. So this social media platform, and I haven't checked it out afterwards, it's a social media platform. So
Oh,
it
God.
counts down to when everyone's supposed to take a photo of what they're doing in that moment. Because I'm assuming the whole point of it is to sort of counteract the whole thing of Instagram where everyone just takes a photo of being picture perfect. Whereas this is actually, you look like shit. You're sitting on the sofa and eating loads of popcorn. Go real sort of thing because you're eating the popcorn and that's how you look. I think that's the whole point behind it. If I'm
Anyway, yeah. What's your point?
then my point is social media generally is about self-promotion. So are we going to a point with this new type of social media, which seems to be the thing, by the way, which I didn't talk to you about, where it's like, well, let's get real. What do you actually look like and what are you actually doing? Rather than
Because everyone wants to now go on this whole authentic thing because you can relate to it. See, my thing is, whenever we're posting our podcast and we have a picture of us two on there,
you
uh,
always got like a funny face. Now I'm gonna get because I've done that
I'm not
face.
very picture, yeah, I'm not very photogenic. But we hate putting our faces on social media or doing anything on social media. But we found that if you put yourself on there, it's more relatable, and that's why we're doing it. And now I feel like I'm making an excuse why we're promoting ourselves. Um, but that is something that goes on in my mind is, oh my God, I'm putting another podcast of our faces up there. But it's not about putting our faces up there. It's about, I hope we're making a difference in someone's life to be open about what their experience is about and saying, hey, as a brown person, it's okay to do that. We don't have to keep hiding.
Do you know what? I mean, going on that point of, look, we don't like posting too much of it. I know I don't like about, if you don't want to see what I'm eating for breakfast, do you? Like, I know I have actually posted that once on stories, as in it was really healthy. After that, I haven't posted it because it hasn't been as healthy, so I don't need to post it. But it did make me think exactly what you're just saying. I didn't do it because I actually don't think it's important what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis in anyone else's life, even if other people think that's interesting. I don't think you need to know that. However, the fact that we're sharing, and I think this is the more important thing, exactly what you've just said, we're sharing our thoughts and our experiences. And surely that's more valuable than, and that's more insightful about us than what I had for breakfast this morning. And
Not necessarily, because if you look at this social media, some people just get high followers just because there used to be this one person on Facebook, and she used to share her whole life. She got up, she had a dog, and all of the school friends used to know who it was, but we all used to look at it.
yeah.
And even that wasn't interesting, but you're just inquisitive about it. And you'd get higher viewings because it's a normal person going on with their everyday lives, and you're just seeing what they're doing. It's like looking into a neighbour's window, not that you would do that. But all these reality shows are about looking into someone's life and seeing what they're doing day to day.
So
It's not
don't you think,
all like the
don't you
Kardashians, not that I enjoy them anymore, but that is, you're seeing what they're doing on a day-to-day life, or most of it's probably made up, but that is it. We're just inquisitive about what other people are doing. And it's not all, and sometimes you just want something easy. You don't want to listen to all the deep rooted what's behind it kind of things. You don't want to think.
So what the hell are we doing with these podcasts? Maybe we should just start posting our breakfast up.
Let's do that. We might get more viewers.
That is actually a really interesting point, actually, because it's just, yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying.
But
And then
the thing is, why in our community do we think it's self promotion is wrong and we see it in a negative light and we don't promote ourselves enough?
well, the whole we've discussed that why we don't do it. We are a community where we have been told not to. If you get really good marks, don't tell too many people the nudger thing and all that sort of stuff.
What do you mean by nudger? Just for our listeners that
I mean, if you haven't heard us explain what nudge is, then you need to go back on our podcast. I am not explaining this, people. You need to go back and listen. You're going to explain it, aren't you? Don't
So,
explain it. You have to listen to our past podcasts.
but basically, it's not making sure that you don't get jinxed if you put out positive vibes. It's almost like in your life, you need to stay neutral about everything that you're doing, just
Okay.
so you don't see too many ups or downs in your life. Just your life is like this.
So now our listeners don't have to go back and listen to our previous podcast because you gave them the explanation they needed anyway. But this is a cultural thing. But then as we know, it is important if someone does something good, we should be promoting them. But even on that point, there is a big competition between organizations as well. And this is something we found as well. It's like, well, actually, I'm not going to say well done to you because you haven't said well done to me. Or
Not only
you're no,
organization, people, you would say, yeah.
people as well. Well, it's both. People are part of the organization, but it's also a case of, well, I'm not going to say well done because, you might be stepping on a field that I'm doing. That happens. We found that happen as we've been growing the organization as well. Like, it happens. Why
And
is that?
maybe you don't put out there also the self-promotion because you don't want other people to think negative, like the nudger thing again, negatively of you, and you don't want their bad vibes. And yeah, and we've seen quite a lot of jealousy out there as well. I don't know why, because the world is big enough for all of us.
But then how can we do it? And we're part of this world, we're part of this community. How do we counteract this then?
I think it's important, not that I'm saying I do everything right, because I do not. I think if it's important that we promote other people that are doing good things as well, share what they're doing as well. And then the other person may think, hey, they're doing it for us, and they're not seeing me as, I don't know, encroaching in their space or whatever, and they're giving me good energy and
But it
hoping good for me.
but it works both ways. Let's be clear, it does work both ways because we've had it where people say, can you share this? But we haven't had the same respect back where, you know, there might be an event or something. And that's where it's like, well, actually, no, I won't share your thing because you didn't share ours. And it turns into a tit for tat sort of situation. And let's not pretend this is the perfect world. That's how it works in even the work that we're doing. Now
Yeah,
we're revealing a lot.
yeah, sometimes you do get, we're going down another tangent, but we'll end it pretty quickly. But sometimes you'll get someone saying to you on your face, yes, I'll do everything that you, I don't know, put it all up on the WhatsApp groups that I'm in. And you're like, I know you're not doing it, but you're smiling. And I know you aren't all, really going to do what you say, but I still have to pretend that you are. It's like this make believe pretend world. But anyway, let's get off that.
But it goes back, no, but it does relate to the same thing though, isn't it? Self-promotion is a big problem. I mean, I find it really uncomfortable going on social media and like just even going on social media. I
Is that
just
because we're not confident in ourselves?
possibly. I mean, I always think like 100 times before I've put something out there, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of brain power. Yeah, it might be a confidence thing. You're right. It might not just be the fact that we're going on this whole nudger thing. It's a confidence thing.
The judgment again of the community. What will the community say? Which we always draw back to. What will they say? How will they judge me if I go and self promote and try to, I don't know, encourage other people to do the same thing? But it's not seen as that. It's not seen in a positive light where you're trying to encourage other people to do similar things or build awareness about something. Sometimes it can just be seen as you're just promoting yourself because you want to big yourself and you want to make yourself seem like you're doing better than anyone else. Again, in a negative light.
But then okay, we are part of this community and we are part of that problem. But essentially we are also part of that solution. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I did like that. That's pretty good. Thank you. That's excellent. Well done. Okay. That's self-promotion. I thought that was quite good. What was the point I was trying to make? Okay. So the solution to this. We, like I said, are part of this. If we do see something, how do we change it? Firstly, not only about ourselves, where we're like, okay, we do need to be confident. You are right. Confident enough to put this out there. And take on that judgment because people will judge, right? So firstly, that bit. Secondly, how do we make sure that we are also promoting others and it's reciprocal, not just a one-sided relationship?
So this
I was gonna
morning,
say, I was gonna say like my marriage, but I was like, no, I better not say that. It sounds really bad.
So I was thinking this morning, because I did feel a bit down, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go and connect with someone that's going through being criticized, but is doing good in the community. So sometimes connecting with people that are going through similar experiences can help.
Yeah.
And also, sometimes you just have to accept that you're going to get judgment no matter what you do, good or bad, you're going to get judgment. So you kind of need to learn water off a duck's back. Yes, I got the saying right. Um, Sometimes you just need to get on with it. And it can be really hard. For example, with me, I'm a kind of person that analyzes something and then analyzes it again and then feels bad about it and then analyzes it again. So somehow it's like breaking that cycle of, okay, someone's judged you, get on with it, carry on. Because you're always going to, when you're out there in the public, you're always going to have someone that's got an opinion of what you do. And if you are out there, then you're kind of almost have to accept that that is part of the package. I'm not saying like with A-lister celebrities, because we're so not.
That'd be really helpful though, because it'd make our promotion really easy, because then we could afford someone that could promote us, and then we don't have to worry about the self-promotion. But what I was going to say was, why would we then put ourselves through that? Because we are talking about well-being, we're talking about mental health, and if you're right, if it comes down to a confidence thing, and I don't like putting myself out there on social media, then why would I spend my mental capacity to do that rather than saying, well, no, you're going to be judged, get over it? Why put
So
myself through that if I don't
I
do
was
it?
talking to my friend yesterday, and she's worked from the day that I can remember that I met her, and she's not had a break. And I said to her, "Are you ever going to have a break?" And she goes, "No, I'm addicted to working."
Yeah.
And she goes, "And you're pretty much the same." And I don't think that we'd stop doing this even if we got judgment, because we've got that thing where we need to keep doing, and it's always been in us, where our dad's the same. He always is doing something for the
And
community.
mum.
And mum, sorry, and mum is doing always something for the community. And I think that's
Or
just
others. Yeah.
for others, or others, yeah. Our mother, yeah, does a lot for others. Um, and then I think that's something that, as a person, if we try to change that, then we're not being authentic ourselves.
But then what could, just thinking about that, and we've said this before, one thing that is really helpful, and yes, it is a really uncomfortable place to be, where that no one enjoys judgment at all, regardless of wherever whoever is judging. But it's those little bits of feedback of, you're smashing it by doing it. And we've always said this, one of the things that we both enjoy is the fact that we've got people that said, you've made a difference, and what you've said in that episode or that event or whatever has made a difference to our life, and that essentially is what we're after.
So round.
So essentially, sorry, go on.
So I was going to say, to round this off, is I think the important thing is to surround yourself with people that are really supportive.
Yeah.
And no matter what you do, you're not going to stop the people from judging you. And I think that's just part of the parcel. You kind
Or
of need to
judging
get
yourself.
over it. Or judging yourself. The judging yourself, I think you can control. It's something that you can work out how to start getting better. But stopping other people from judging you, I don't think you can do that. And I think it's like climbing a mountain, an endless one, if there is one.
So as we come to the end of this episode, I mean, I think one takeaway from this is, make sure you do credit people for any change they've made in your life. Let them know that they've made that change, because it makes a big difference on that person's life, and they would carry on continuing to do the good work. So everybody that has had an impact on our lives, wait for an email, wait for a direct message, because you are going to get one, because it is so important. And on that point, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook, changing_suits, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.